Welcome back to another episode. This is actually episode 20 of Coaching in the Car. Always brought to you by coachingprocesswins.com. I'm actually not in the car today. This is going to be coaching from the desk. I've got too many notes and things that I need to share with you, and I'm excited to get going on it. So I'm going to coach from the desk so I don't have a wreck. I'm already a bad enough driver. You know, speaking of who are always brought to you by coachingprocesswins.com, if you go to our website, you'll see an offer to get the top 2-point plays from the 2016 season, both from the NFL and college teams. Alex Kirby put together diagrams, schematics, analysis of the top 25 2-point plays that were run this past season, combined from the NFL and college football teams using it in 2016. So, hey, you can look at it, maybe utilize one or two of them. It could be a good resource for you. You know, more and more people are going for the 2-point and having more opportunities to get down there, and they're game changers. We saw that in this year's Super Bowl. So get that at coachingprocesswins.com. Let's get on with Coaching in the Car, episode number 20. Something that is hot right now, going around, maybe controversial, if you will, is now the official elimination of two-a-day practices from Division III and Division II football. If it's not already just unwritten in Division I football in terms of how a coach schedules in two-a-days now in their camp, it soon is probably going to get legislated in that two-a-days are going to go the way of leather helmets. It's going to be something we talk about in lore. And you know, one of the residual effects that have come out of eliminating two-a-days is just preparation time. We are now limited in the time that we can go from practice 1 to game 1. I know that they're going to back it up 3 days on the college level where people can come in 3 days earlier, and then that creates a whole other set of residual problems. I want to offer today in this episode some ways of coaches can, think about, the time that is being utilized or underutilized. And, hey, if I don't have two-a-days anymore, what am I going to do in terms of preparation? How are we going to get all of it in? How are we going to install? I don't want to discuss at this point about, two-a-days, put a little bit of bark on kids, toughen people up. You got to get a little bit tougher, got to, reach that mental toughness state after 3 straight days of two-a-days, and you got to get up and you got to go, get into another, and it creates mental toughness. I'm not going to debate that. But what I do want to talk about is if we're getting limited with the time that we're able to spend, then we've got to be smarter with our time, and efficiency has got to be repeated. Efficiency, efficiency, efficiency. I ran across and this happens to me often, I ran across an old, I think this was actually written by an economist in the 50s. It's called Parkinson's Law. And here's the adage of what Parkinson's Law is. Work expands so as to fill the time available for its completion. Some define the law in regard to time as the amount of time that one has to perform a task is the amount of time it will take to complete the task. Let me put it into Rick words here. The longer amount of time that we have, let's say 3 hours, it seems that we fill up that time with more things to do. So if I've got to get done A, B, and C, and I know that it's going to take 3 hours, I tend to do A, B, and C in 3 hours. A real world example for anybody that has a daughter or has had a girlfriend or any of you ladies out there. You know, you got that first big date and you're going somewhere special. Let's just say it's even prom. You've got 2 hours to get ready. A lady is going to take 2 hours to get ready. If that's what time they get off work, between the time that they have to get out on the date, and it's a 2 hour time frame, they're going to take 2 hours to get ready. Now, let's take that same important date. Got to look good, got to impress, but you've only got 30 minutes to get ready. I'll guarantee you, fellas, that lady's going to walk out of that door in that 30 minutes looking like money. She's going to look good. If she would have been given 2 hours, that's what she would have taken. But she could get that same amount done in 30 minutes. That's Parkinson's law written into my own words and relating it to something. So how does that equate to, we're getting 2 days taken away from us. We've got the 20-hour rule. It seems, kids got tutoring, they got lab, they've got these other things. I'm trying to get time with them. Well, it's the efficiencies that we find within that time to get the same amount of work done. That's the secret right there. It's being efficient. A lot of the things I'm going to refer to today come from the all-time classic football book, and this can apply to business, this can apply to management. It's a brilliantly written book, Bill Walsh's Finding the Winning Edge. In chapter 10, Designing a Winning Game Plan, he says, or there's a quote that he actually takes from a British military correspondent. His name's J.F.C. Fuller. And the quote goes like this: Admiral Nelson did not fight in order to carry out a plan. Instead, he planned to carry out a fight. Plan. Be efficient in that plan. Plan your work your plan. You have one practice a day in order to install. You have we can debate about this later. Is it 26 practices before the first game? Is it 28 practices? You've got that finite, defined rule of says when you can begin and when the first kickoff is. And you can only do it in a certain amount of time. You take that time and you efficiently plan it. And so the counter argument to that is, okay, if I'm given the liberal abilities to make it any way I want, so I'm going to have multiple two-a-days. Heck, I'm even going to come in earlier and we're going to have more two-a-days. Again, we're talking about a world in which there's no restrictions. Then I argue more time's going to be wasted, less is going to happen, even though you have more time to do it. When that restricted amount comes, and this is the way that, and it's not going back. So it's like taxes, man. It's not going to go backwards. They're not, once they put that 3-cent tax on gasoline, you don't necessarily see that 3-cent tax rescinded. It doesn't work that way in government. The same thing's going to happen with time in terms of preparation for football coaches. And again, I always try to apply this to a leader. I try to apply it to managers. You've got a certain amount of time with your people in which you've got to get something accomplished, to get it out the door, to meet the deadline. The more constricted, the more focus it's going to require. The more focus that it requires because of efficiencies, the more that you're going to get done. That's that's Parkinson's law in reverse in terms of being positive. So when I refer to taxes or when I refer to these new things with the NCAA restricting practices, and this applies to high school too, within your leagues and things like that, you have to have the mindset it's not going to go the other way. You can bitch about it all you want. Your time's actually going to be restricted. So what you have to do is turn that coin and go, okay, this is the way we've got to think about it. These are the parameters in which we have to work in. Now, let's make our work. So I love what Admiral Nelson said in that quote there in Bill Walsh's book. Admiral Nelson did not fight in order to carry out a plan. Instead, he planned in order to carry out a fight. Plan. You know what you're up against. Be efficient. I'm going to continue with some things, and I'm going to make a series of these about time efficiencies, practice efficiencies, organizational efficiencies, and a lot of this I'll refer to out of Coach Walsh's book, Finding the Winning Edge. Here's some statements he makes. The goal of planning is to remove from a tough situation the panic element of what the hell are we going to do now? The less thinking people have to do under adverse circumstances, the better. When you're under pressure, the mind can play tricks on you. It's a terrible mistake to let outside forces influence you more than the pragmatic realities of the situation already are. For instance, if I'm on the sideline and the wind chill factor is 10 degrees, I may decide, damn, it's too cold. Nobody could catch a pass, so I'll depart from my plan and not call a pass, even though the players out on the field are feeling a lot warmer than I am. Better to reduce the effect of outside variables and revert to something you've practiced and practiced. When things get tense in a football game, I want to be able to make decisions clinically because I've thought them through beforehand rather than take an ad-libbed, seat-of-the-pants approach. Sometimes this works, but more often than not, these kinds of reactive decisions will be wrong. Being able to go with a well-rehearsed plan is far better than depending on heroics, which work better in fiction than in real life. Bill Walsh wrote that, titled it When Things Go Bad, and he wrote that for Forbes magazine in 1993. It's a setting up of what I want to get to in discussing further things with a few more episodes of Coaching in the Car about a plan. And when you have that plan, you carry it out in an efficient way. So you're restricted, deal with it, figure it out to make it work to you and your kids' advantage. I want to leave you with a few things that that would help you on this. And I'm going to give my wife credit. Her father was a college professor, and he wrote many different things. And, you know, when you're a professor, you have to write, you have to publish. And a lot of the course load that he talked about was efficiency. And I want to finish with this just to give you some things to think about efficiency. And then in subsequent episodes, we'll talk about, you know, what can you do if you don't have extra days? What can you do if you don't have time? One thing that you're going to hear me say a lot of is it pays to be impatient. Impatient says, I'm not wasting time. I'm getting after it. I'm getting to it. You know, the old adage, I'm turning it upside down here, you know, it pays to be patient. Well, in the game of planning and planning for a victory within the process that you have, it pays to be impatient. Let's talk about some things that can be applied to be more efficient, not only from a coach's standpoint or a leader's standpoint, but just an individual standpoint. And I'm talking to myself just as much as anybody. Number one, to take control of your life. Efficiency doesn't come automatically. you must make a commitment. Number 2, eliminate trivia because trivia can be deadly. Now, my wife's father wrote this, Dr. Ray Tucker. He wrote this in the 70s. That was before social media. So number 2 is eliminate the distractions of trivia, which today would be social media. Think about how much time is wasted there. Number 3, quit doing things that neither profit you or anyone else. One of the biggest fallacies that I found before I was ever a football coach, and I was a graduate assistant in 1986. I believe I was 23 years old. Before I stepped into that situation and any situation thereafter, I thought coaches got in and they worked, and when they were done working, they went home. What I was sadly mistaken about, there is a ton of wasted time in our profession. A lot of sitting around telling war stories, a lot of sitting around waiting on somebody else. We can spend our time a whole lot wiser. and I'm pointing at myself saying that too. So number 3, quit doing things that neither profit you nor anyone else. Number 4, we have got to stop making excuses for not getting things done. You can't use the alibi of I'm not in the mood to do something. So quit making excuses for not getting things done. That's number 4. Number 5, to be more efficient. We must not think that tomorrow will be less complex than today. So I've got something to do today. It's that old thing, I'll put it off to tomorrow. Tomorrow looks a whole lot more open. We got to quit thinking that way. So I want to restate that one. We must not think that tomorrow will be less complex than today. Number 6, stop telling me your hopes and dreams. Start doing something about them. Otherwise, they will remain hopes and dreams. Do. Number 7, stop living by the mailbox procrastination theory. This is people keep wishing and hoping, but do little to make things happen. And that may be dated. You could equate that to waiting by your inbox and your email, that big thing that you sent out is going to come back to you with that answer. You got the job. You got the promotion. We're going to proceed with the plan. Sometimes you can't sit there and wait and just keep checking, man. Go out and make something happen. So Coaching in the Car today talked a lot about planning and being efficient. We're being restricted with our time and with the people that we've got to lead all the time. I didn't give a lot of detail. Okay, how do we become more efficient? How do we plan better? In the coming days, I'd like to discuss more of that and really drive down on some things that coaches and leaders, people can use to really go, okay, I'm going to get after it. I'm going to get things done and going to get in and going to get out. I'm not going to be in Parkinson's law where, okay, I'm given all this time and it takes me all that time to get it done. I'm going to be impatient. It pays to be impatient to get the job done because my time's restricted. I'm going to start and I'm going to get it done now. We're going to plan to be efficient. So let's keep on doing that. Remember to go to coachingprocesswins.com and get your 2-point plays. Alex Kirby put together 25 of the best from NFL and college football this past season, and I think that'd be a great resource for you. So from episode 20 of Coaching in the Car, today was Coaching at the Desk. Adios.